Sorry, I just cut myself off there. Here we go.
Perhaps I know that's skipping along here a bit, but if you would,
I don't really want to jump so much, because without the understanding of it, it's like, jumping to the answer and saying the answer isn't supported. But I would like to make one comment here for the listeners who are wondering about the exchange there. I haven't spoken to Jim Fetzer in well over 3 years, nor emailed with him, nor corresponded with him in any way, because he threatened me. He threatened me to not talk about this technology. So having him, touring with me on the show is not a very useful thing. His job is to keep this information from coming out, so it seems. He can seem supportive, but anything but recognize this technology. Why would he be having such issues with the title of the book?
He threatened you?
Can't believe this.
Yes, he threatened me.
How did he threaten you?
I could read it, but I don't have it handy here.
I don't mean to get into this. I do want to.
Yeah.
I could have it handy here. So, if he's threatened her, he knows. She knows how he's threatened her. I have it handy here. What? She got it picking written down? No, she's making up as she picking goes along. Oh my goodness! Does this sound like a straight, honest, educated person, or some knobhead? Eh? She doesn't know where he threatened her. Oh, Judy, give it up. Give it up, baby. Come on.
To go beyond this, because we don't need to get the infight in the way of the evidence.
I don't call this infight. I call this, suppression. Attempting to suppress. But it's,
Where did he insult you?
Yeah, somebody who's threatening me to not talk about this technology then comes on your show.
Where?
It's not good.
Where?
Anyway, the technology is...
Where did he threaten you? That's slander. And I tell you what, if I were pigging him, I'd have Judy Wood in pigging court. I wouldn't hesitate. For slander. Well, defamation, slander, defamation, you name it, you get it. Take her to pigging court, mate. Because she's making up as she goes along. This is supposed to be a reasonable person who cannot give a reasonable argument to anything when she's confronted with the truth. Reasonable persons that have a truthful stand and something truthful to say will say it, will argue it, as we do. We bring out the common sense and the points. All she can do is vilify people. That says it all.
Reality. Jesse Ventura even understands it. I was just so much in admiration of him, because I get a lot of grief for standing up for the truth. I'm a scientist, and as a scientist, I follow the scientific method to scientific conclusions.
No, you don't.
So for non-scientists to be, trying to twist things around it seems kind of ridiculous. For one,
a scientist goes by the facts. You've got the pigging theories. False science goes by the theories. How can you measure anything by theories, Judy? Keep vilifying him. Go on, baby.
thing. But also, I take a lot of grief from just about every direction, from the mainstream and from the truth movement, forwards and backwards.
Truth movement.
And when Jesse Ventura stood up for what was in my book...
But he's not a scientist. Hang on, you just said that you have to be a scientist is to understand it, to appreciate it, and now you're saying Jesse Ventura is standing up for it. But he's not a scientist. You're grabbing at straws, you silly cow. Oh, stupid woman, eh? She does like the spirit of the world does, isn't it? Eh? You get a programme that's false, and what does the media do? Oh, we've got such and such here he's got a PhD in making bodies, he's got an MA in brushing his teeth, so you should respect him. He's got a grand name. And then we've got this one over here, and this one over here, and this one there, and this one everywhere. And look, listen, you plebs, I've got all these persons, well educated. You sit there and you kneel and you bow and you kiss their feet because they're all educated, even though they're educated in pigging lies. Huh? This is the way of the world. Oh, throw every qualification at the plebs. Huh? Oh, he's got qualifications, so he must be alright. Ah, yeah. Would you have gone to Dr. Shipman? For your health? Because he's got qualifications, didn't he? Oh, you'd have been bumped off. Huh? Shipman, mass murderer. Dr. Shipman. It doesn't mean that if you've got qualifications, you're a decent person. Here's another one, Judy Wood. Woody Woodpecker. Scrambling about, vilifying people, because she's lost the pigging argument. She lost the pigging thing a long time ago.
That was a lot of guts. I respect him a lot for that. The truth movement apparently is now throwing him overboard.
Yeah, there's all sorts of blogs. Yeah, we talked about that. Dr. Jesse Ventura jumps the shark. All sorts of people saying now, is he trying to discredit us? And I'm glad that he's a man that speaks about what he sees to be true, and he read the book.
He sees to be true. He's not a scientist. Keep it in context, Judy Wood. You say that we must be scientists to understand the thing, and now you're saying, again, that Jesse Ventura and this fella here is saying he's telling the truth. Only because he agrees with you, therefore he must be telling the truth. Hey, Martin Bormann agreed with Adolf Hitler. Hitler was right, was he? Absolutely crazy. Crazy, isn't it? Hey? It's alright. Hey, let's go into Poland, eh? Let's get some sandwiches and go into Poland. Because you did say you were right. We'll nip down to Russia while we're at it, eh? That's what you wanted. Oh, man. These persons are flaying around all over the pigging place. Go on.
Read the book. He knew how to stand up for it, for what was in there, and knows what it means.
Knows what it means. It's a scientist, does he?
Well, I'm glad that we aired that out, and I'm sorry about that awkward segment. If I had any idea, I would have continued to push the envelope. I was more interested in some of the talk about 9/11.
Awkward segment. He's referring to part 1 where Fetzer had her on the pigging ropes, and she strung her pigging neck round the pigging ropes and strung herself up. Stupid woman. Eh? If you're a pigging scientist, you've been saying, yeah, right, this is this, and this is this, and this ties into this, and this ties... And she couldn't answer him. He was more the man, wasn't he? He's the man who faced her down, and she lost. Then she got annoyed as she was losing. And of course, when he put the pigging phone down and we got this second part, she just lambasts him. Vilification. As I said, I'd have had the bugger in court. Sued the pigging arse off her. Eh? What is so absolutely and utterly despicable, apart from the fact that she's supporting the US government in this, in not condemning what is plainly obvious, and she's therefore taking the side by default that it was the terrorists, and therefore supporting the government in that load of lies and deceit. Okay, therefore she's on a road of lies and deceit. Is the fact that she's using an incident, a horrendous incident, in order to promote herself. People died, people are still dying, people are maimed, people jumped out of pigging windows. And she's using that event in order to promote herself on this imaginary machine that she has that is still immobile. Okay, if the army is to be believed that it has it, but it hasn't got it mobile. How dare anybody do that? That's callous. To use an incident like that. And how dare her disciples so brush to one side the horrendous circumstances and to play word games with this incident. And they will turn round and they will continue their word games and say, no, it was sacred. We don't disrespect the dead and the dying and the maimed and those who flung themselves out of business windows. Oh no, because it's words with them. Words are cheap to them. Words are easy to hand, and therefore they will use them. But what they are doing behind those words is despicable. Equally, they're telling the firemen that were in those buildings that they are a pack of liars. Oh, they won't admit to that. But they're having to tell them that they are a pack of liars. Because when the firemen, for instance, said that the whole lot came down demolition style and there was bangs on each floor, bang, 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 by accepting what Judy Wood says, that's calling them liars by default. Oh, they won't say that the firemen are liars. They'll say, no, we're not saying that the firemen are liars. Yes, you are. Don't pick and play around with words with me, buddy boy. Take your verbal tennis somewhere else, because you're not going to get anywhere with us. By default, you're saying that the firemen in those buildings, eyewitnesses, Judy Woods wasn't there. There's no mobile machine. There's no electricity supply large enough to operate the machine. Nobody saw any immobile machine going through the streets, into buildings, on top of buildings, out of buildings, down buildings, back onto some truck by some Muslims. As we said from the beginning, what was the purpose of pigging planes? There was 4 sodding planes that were hijacked. One plane is testified as going into the building, but it wasn't a passenger plane. On the day, it wasn't a passenger plane. It was a jet. It was witnessed by independent witnesses that it was a jet. And those persons that said it was a jet are not following the government line, because the government line was that it was aeroplanes, passenger planes. And one woman stood it out with one reporter that it was a jet. Now, I don't know about the second building, but we're talking about the first building. It was a jet. So what's the purpose, Judy? Where is this machine? Why have you taken the dust, huge amounts of dust from the building collapsing, and made that to be the dustification of all the building, the metal, the concrete, all that was substantial, substantiated, that went into the building. Why have you done that? Why have you done that? Would you do it of other buildings that we've seen fallen, being demolished, and say, oh, look at the dust. Must be dustification, must be a machine there. But you see, with those sort of buildings that have been demolished, they've been gutted, first of all. So there's not that amount of dust. It's still a hell of a lot of dust. But there was increased dust with huge buildings. The two buildings, the Twin Towers, were huge and full of material that was being crushed under the weight, producing vast amounts of dust. You can see it piling. And then the paperwork and everything else coming out through the dust. And the metal through the dust you can see coming down. It should be dust, not metal. You shouldn't be able to see any metal because it's been dustified. The metal is supposed to be creating the dust, according to Judy Wood. Eh? And again, where's the tons of dust everywhere? There isn't. There's pigging steel and the rest of it. You don't move dust with diggers and the rest, cranes, and you don't have dust appearing on the pigging floor as steel, girders and the rest. And you've still got the pigging stanchions here, there and everywhere. It should be dust. I do wish people would pigging wake up. Use their sodding common sense. That's what you're pigging born with. Ain't it, moles? Yeah. I know, Molly, you won't get anywhere with that. You are my patent. Okay? Goodbye, Molly. Goodbye, everybody.